Hello everyone and welcome back to Very Cold Lasagna, your filthy casual place for all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. I am DylanLasagna and welcome back to recap another week that was in the 2022 NFL season. And I gotta really say that these weeks are flying fast and we're almost to the month of December and we're already here on the eve of Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's almost Thanksgiving and we're already about to start week 13. Like, holy hell, this week is probably the busiest time. Like, we just finished talking about my 49ers. We're about to start talking about the week that was week 11. And we're really just about to pick up week 12. Like, holy crap. I'm not kidding you when I'm saying, like, this is probably the most stressful week that I've had to prepare for y'all with content on this channel for NFL coverage. Like, I kid you not, but we're pushing through. And I do apologize if some of it feels rushed or it feels like seriously stuttery, unprepared, and typical me, filthy casual me. But hey, I own up to it. I apologize if you feel that way, and I do my best to do better and strive to be better. And hopefully, I feel your pain, or like if you forgive me for that. But anyway, we're here to talk about after that housekeeping. We're here to talk about the week that was week 11, and yeah, like I said, it really is flying by. These weeks are really flying by. So anyway, let's get into the down and dirty of this past week of football. So, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Bucks were all on bye this week. They're coming back in this coming week of football. So, going back to the week that was week 11, we start things off on Thursday Night Football last week, only on Amazon Prime Video for $15 a month. And the Tennessee Titans, though, they managed to hold off some flashes from Aaron Rodgers and Christian Watson. But, it was still more of the same Packers offense, as Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry combined for 3 touchdowns, and the Titans defense kept that Green Bay Packers offense in check to defeat them 27-17 on a somewhat tight, but not really game on Thursday night. Going to the Sunday slate of games, starting with the early morning portion, Marcus Mariota bounced back kinda from 2 sluggish games, as the Atlanta Falcons beat the Chicago Bears 27-24, and yeah, all eyes are on Bears fans and whatever their expectations are for Bears football, because Justin Fields finished the game with hamstring and shoulder injuries, and he's considered day-to-day. Oof. As yeah, the Bears' strategy to run him into the ground like he's Trey Lance or Lamar Jackson is really catching up to them. It's not looking good right now. And the Bears dropped this game to the Falcons. Like, freaking yikes. Like, yeah, Justin Fields is a good runner, but you can't run into the ground like the 49ers did with Trey Lance this season. Like, come on now. Anyway, in this next game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Carolina Panthers, it was a really, really good. I can't really say it's a good defensive battle, but it featured 2 good defenses, yes, but both offenses really sucked to finish drives or produce anything good. But Marcus Peters in the fourth quarter forced a critical strip sack, not a strip sack, but a strip fumble on receiver Shi Smith, which led to a Lamar Jackson walk-in touchdown and Baker Mayfield to basically choke to the might of the Ravens defense, as the Ravens beat the Carolina Panthers 13-3 in, a very strugglish game to watch. Down in Detroit, because this game got snowed out of Buffalo, after struggling the first half, the Bills and Josh Allen found hope at the running game to pull away with 25 unanswered points until they had to keep away from the skid marks from making an improbable comeback to net a win 31-23. Kendall Fuller's pick 6 to open the game set the tone for Washington's defense to command a bullying performance on a hapless Texans team, helped them propel to a win over the Houston Texans in the case of the Washington Commanders, 23-10. I gotta tell you, man, Washington Yeah, they're not Super Bowl contenders, but for all that's going on with them and their shitty organization, hey, the one bright spot is that they're playing some pretty interesting football right now. Meanwhile, for their other NFC East contender, Philadelphia, they really struggled in all phases in their game in Indianapolis, but Jalen Hurts and the offense sprung back to life with 2 minutes left to play. Jalen Hurts scored a 5-yard touchdown run, and the Eagles defense swarmed Matt Ryan on the Colts' last chance to win as the Eagles beat Jeff Saturday's Indianapolis Colts 17-16. And yeah, that game was not good for Philadelphia. And in another very strugglish game for offenses, a very offensive inept game. Yeah, both of these quarterbacks, Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, they sucked for different reasons. And this game finally broke open a little bit at the very last moment. The Patriots special teams ended the misery when a guy named Marcus Johnson returned a punt return with 18 seconds left in regulation to break a 3-all tie as the New England Patriots barely beat the New York Jets in their 14th straight win against them, 10-3. Just barely, my lord. Down in New Orleans, Andy Dalton had a decent showing as he threw for 3 touchdowns against the crumbling, reigning, defending, undisputed, I guess no longer really, Super Bowl champions who lost Matthew Stafford yet again to a concussion as the Saints marched all over the Rams 27-20. The Lions forced 2 interceptions and a fumble on the New York Giants offense, all of which they cashed in on 4 combined goal line touchdowns from Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift as the Lions all of a sudden won 3 straight games in perhaps their best performance of the season against the Giants 31-18. Like, man, you got to wonder what the Lions end game is for this season. Is it to win games or get a high draft pick? You got to wonder. It's interesting. Going to the late afternoon slate of games, it was a mile-high battle of which head coach went suck less between Josh McDaniels and Nathaniel Hackett. And in the end, it needed 10 extra minutes, and it turns out that Josh McDaniels was the one that wouldn't suck less as the Broncos defense allowed Davante Adams to slip past them butt naked into the end zone as the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos and swept the season series 22-16 in overtime. Like, really? The Denver defense just busted coverage and let Davante Adams go butt naked in the end zone. Just like that. Oh my God, they really suck. They deserve to be in last place. Anyway, the big matchup in the SKOL that everyone, including me, was overhyping ended up being a smashing of SKOLS as Dallas whipped some purple and yellow candy ass on all sides of the ball with 4 touchdowns from Dak Prescott and Tony Pollard and a total shutdown performance from their defense that included 7 sacks on Kirk Cousins as the Dallas Cowboys whooped that candy ass on the Minnesota Vikings 40-3. Like, damn. This game was over by halftime. Like, I kid you not. I really don't kid you. It got so bad that CBS switched it over to the other game we're about to talk about, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, despite a solid showing, some flashes from Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, and the Steelers defense, they made things interesting for 3/4 of the game. The White Tiger Bengals took full control in the 4th quarter as the Bengals defense stopped Kenny Pickett and the Steelers for good to put the game out of reach 37-30. So, yeah, it really got that bad, like, for the Vikings game, that CBS was like, yeah, enough of their dog dookie water. Let's switch it over to a more interesting game between the Bengals and the Steelers. And then that game got out of hand, got out of reach for Pittsburgh. Then in the Sunday Night Football game, it was a back-and-forth affair between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. But then we remembered that even though that Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen took the lead for the Chargers after the 2-minute warning, they left too much time off the clock for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And yeah, what happens when you leave too much time off the clock? They go down and score. And that's exactly what they did as Travis Kelce and Mahomes connected for their 3rd straight and sealing touchdown with just seconds left to go as the Chiefs beat the LA Clippers 31-27 in a crazy game. Then in the Monday Night Football closer of the week, my San Francisco 49ers laid the smackdown in the second half of the Mexico City game against the Arizona Cardinals as Jimmy G in the offense, surprisingly so, laid the smackdown with Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle scoring 4 combined touchdowns in that game alongside Jimmy G, and the defense ravaging all over Colt McCoy so bad that they put in Trace McSorley by the start of the fourth quarter as the Niners hammered the Dead Birds 38-10 in Mexico City. So that was your week. That was week 11 in the 2022 season. Let's talk my winners and losers of the prelude to Thanksgiving. Starting with my winners, the Dallas Cowboys. The offense for the Cowboys exposed some cracks in the Vikings' leaking secondary by attacking the corners in the middle with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, doing some nice work after the catch, alongside Tony Pollard in the receiving game. And speaking of the running game, Ezekiel Elliott also did some good in his first game back, switching back and forth with Tony Pollard. And Dak Prescott had a nice bounce back game with those 2 touchdowns to a wide open Tony Pollard. And the defense is the heart and soul of this team, with the relentlessness in the pass rush, getting those 7 sacks on Kirk Cousins, which was further amplified by when they lost their top lineman, Christian Darrisaw. But still, it was a very good win by the Cowboys, and you could definitely say that they could make a run. It's just a matter of, can they get out of their own way mentally? And then perhaps maybe they can make a serious run. The Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't have any most of their receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster or McCole Hardman in this game. But when it came to nut busting time, hey, they showed up. Patrick Mahomes, you remember, Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling didn't exactly help things for the matter, but the rookies did. The rookies really stepped up to put on a productive game and assist Travis Kelce, who had a terrific night on Sunday night against the Chargers with 3 touchdowns, and including the third one to seal it. And then, that offense, really starting to pick it up, and the rookies stepping up for Kansas City, including Sky Moore. Now, it's just one game, but that offense is clearly starting to pick up the slack for Mahomes and company. And I'll give a little bit of credit to Washington this week because they seem set on attempting to claim one of the wild card spots in an oddly weak NFC, and they actually do have an opportunity to take full advantage of it. And this is despite Taylor Heineke not exactly having the most efficient game against the Houston Texans, but the supporting cast did help him out, especially the defense, getting multiple sacks on Davis Mills and 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. And this is not even with Chase Young. They didn't have Chase Young back yet, and he's coming back real soon. So Washington in a pretty weak NFC that hasn't even yet come to form yet. They can possibly make some magic happen. And I'm not saying they're going to go full deep run, but hey, a playoff appearance is not out of the question. Now for my losers of the week. The New York Giants, holy hell. As if, you basically won last week against the Houston Texans, who suck anyway. But holy hell, the Lions, really? You, regress so bad. Daniel Jones, those 2 interceptions, and then they turn over the ball. And then you basically let Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift vulture some goal line touchdowns. And Jared Goff didn't exactly light up the scoreboard, but you let him do enough to have those running backs do those opportunities. Holy man. And what are they doing? Did they prepare for Detroit this week? Were they so focused on the Cowboys on Thanksgiving that they just blew past Detroit? They just brushed them off? Maybe that's what happened. And then the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I get they were playing on a short week, and I know that the first loss stung, but it looked like they were totally unprepared to play in Indianapolis. And yes, they won. They came back to win that game, but they just looked very sluggish. They kind of reminded me of when the Steelers lost their first game in 2020, and then they just got completely hammered by the Bills on the next Sunday night game that they played. I mean, of course, the Eagles won, but it's just like they really struggled. Jalen Hurts didn't look as efficient as I thought he would in that game. The run defense gave up a crap ton of yards to Jonathan Taylor, or even if he didn't, they still left a lot of holes open for him. Matt Ryan, a pretty solid game. And for the Eagles, there's just a lot of holes and that got exposed on Sunday. And then the Minnesota Vikings. And look, it wasn't entirely Kirk Cousins' fault that the team lost this game, but there's some concerns. It's just one loss for the first time in like a month or so. But there's just some concerns for this team that just lost their first game and had its like actual reality check. Without Darisaw, the offensive line gets a good pass rush, and the Cowboys got lit up. It got hammered, and it was like every like 2 seconds or so, Kirk Cousins was getting sacked, or he had to get rid of the ball quick. And because of that, Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen, like they couldn't get the ball. They didn't have time to catch it. And even then, they didn't even get many yards after the catch. So maybe this was just a wake up call for Minnesota to adjust, and they had a better team to play against. But man, they better hope they brush this off quick, because they're playing another good defense in New England on Thursday night in the nightcapper. Otherwise, oh boy. So those are your winners and losers of the week. Let's go to my hurry up game discussion, where we need to hurry and get this 2-minute thing out of the window. So there was this one overlaying thing that happened, like this overarching theme that happened, and that was the QB class, the quarterbacks in this draft class from last year. Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, they all played this week. So, and I was getting a little concerned about each of them, because Zach Wilson, Mac Jones played each other, but they both really struggled. Mac Jones, he looked fine, but his offensive line didn't support him very well. The pass, they completely caved to the Jets' pass rush, and he had no time to throw. Hence, why they were such in a 3-3 split for most of the game. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zach Wilson was making the usual crap ton of mistakes, like just throwing the ball under pressure, just yeeting it away, either to a low throw incompletion or high throw incompletion, or it's getting picked, or he's holding onto the ball too long that he's eating the sack, or he's fumbling the ball. Meanwhile, for Justin Fields, he both doesn't have the support on the offensive line or on the receiving end, and for whatever reason, he's been running it more, either by play design or just by initiative. So, like, he's Trey Lance here in San Francisco, and Kyle Shanahan has already run him into the ground. So, and now he's hurt. He's day to day. So, when I'm looking at this rookie last year's quarterback class, and it's just not too alarming yet on where they at. We can't call them busts because it's only been 2 years, but it's a little alarming that for most of them have barely produced. We've yet to see like how Trevor Lawrence can really do, because their Jaguars offense under Doug Peterson, it seems a little promising. They just can't execute right now. And then I'm wondering who, I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Trey Lance, he got hurt, and we still have yet to figure out what exactly he will be. So those are just my thoughts on like the not really bust potential yet, because it's just a little concerning right now. So those are my thoughts on the quarterback class right now. It's just alarming. It's just really alarming. Anyway, that's my recap for week 11 of the 2022 season. What did you think about this week? Were there any games that surprised you, disappointed you? Any teams that were your winners or losers, or you were just indifferent about this week? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Anyway, this is DylanLasagna of Very Cold Lasagna, bringing you those filthy casual takes each and every time I come on here. And keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your take on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.